Thank you for joining us tonight here on The Factor Uncensored, and as always, thank you for staying up late, and thank you to our guests who are here with us. We begin tonight with a story of abduction. A woman says a local rapper stole nearly half a decade of her life. She is now pressing charges. The woman, who is not being identified by investigators, says she was pregnant at the time Lee Carter kidnapped her and kept her in a garage for 4 years. Carter is also a rapper who goes by Viper. You see him there. He was arrested last Thursday. According to court records, he repeatedly raped her, forced her to take drugs, and would not allow her to leave. Police are not sure what happened to the baby the woman was pregnant with. Here to address this is Waller County Constable Herschel Smith and trauma therapist Chow Nguyen. Glad to have you here both on The Factor Uncensored. Chow, when you see something like this, you know, and I'm always intrigued how someone can be held captive. We just recently, in the Greenspoint area, last year had a woman who was held captive for several years, and no one said anything in the community. Maybe they didn't know. I'm not sure, but let's take a look at this case. How could a woman be held captive for half a decade like this?
Because abuse and violence changes and rewires the brain. You literally can lose agency of who you are. The power and control that's exerted on this poor victim can be severe, and in this case it sounds very severe. She was gone for nearly 5 years, locked up in a garage in horrible, deplorable conditions. It is no wonder she didn't know how to escape, but at some point she had the wherewithal to finally leave. It is not a surprise to those of us who work in the field of domestic violence, abuse, sexual violence, that exertion of power control can be so great. The verbal attacks, the threats, the "if you leave, I'm going to kill you" type of comments can be severe, and it does change your brain chemistry. I mean, when we look at the neurobiology of trauma on the brain, it's as if a victim is living in a heightened state of alert, of fear, of fright, of violence, right? And so those are the effects that can take place when somebody is being held captive and they don't even know who they are anymore. They're believing what their captor says. They think they should be there, but somehow, and I'm sure there's a lot more information that law enforcement can share eventually, somehow this woman had the wherewithal to say, enough is enough, I'm going to get out.
Are you surprised at this case? 5 years, Constable.
Well, I'm very surprised because, you know, in the community, people see things, some people say things and some people don't. You know, it depends on the culture of the community. You know, in our community, people will not talk to the police or will not call the police because they just don't want to get involved, you know, and they have a fear, the fear of getting involved with some people, you know, and there are some people that's in the neighborhood who really care, who doesn't care, and then they will contact the police. But most of the time they would not contact the police. And but my understanding that was the police went there several times, you know, and I guess they didn't get a warrant or whatever. I don't know what happened in that particular case, but you know, the fact is that they went there several times. They didn't see anything. Nobody even talked to the police when they came. But all of a sudden, I see the report. That's one particular guy. He said he noticed certain things, but how many phone calls did he make?
Right, and we also would like to take a look at the family. Right. You know, did she have family? What did her family say when she disappeared for 5 years? It's my understanding she may have been panhandling when he basically took her off a corner and took her to his house and never let her free again, at least for 5 years. But could homelessness or financial situation play a role in who's looking for you, and will they look for you aggressively?
Look, I say this all the time, and the constable raised a very important point, which is that when you are living in impoverished communities at the intersection of poverty and race, and you don't trust the police, and nobody wants to say something, it is plausible that this poor victim didn't, even if she cried foul, nobody was looking for her, right? Somebody should have seen something. She was pregnant. But if she's panhandling, that would imply she is coming from a place of either homelessness or poverty. And at the intersection of race and poverty begets violence.
And Constable Smith, should we be more aggressive in looking for those who may not be part of the well-heeled crowd, the middle-class crowd?
Of course we should be. You know, one of the things that, you know, over the period of years of being around homeless and drug addicts, I ran a homeless shelter for 20-some years before I became a police.
I remember that.
And during that time, you know, very few parents, very few relatives come around those individuals, and so we had a gathering where we kind of forced families to come and to visit every Saturday night, which brought that relationship back, and people are sick and tired of being sick and tired of their seeing their loved ones, and they don't want to be codependent. So they kind of distance themselves away from them. But at the same time, you have to have that love in your heart to reach out to the person that you know is missing, a person that you haven't seen. Somebody should be concerned in the community.
And what kind of person, child, does it take to commit a crime like this, allegedly, with this guy?
Well, it sounds like this is your stereotypical, prototypical abuser, somebody who's going to exert that power and control dynamic that we talk about on a victim, to manipulate, to gaslight, to threaten, to bully, to exert violence. Those are the signs, the warning signs of somebody who is going to impose real danger. But I hope that we can end this segment on a positive light, which is, yes, this poor victim may experience the long-term and lifetime effects of trauma, but there is help available. And we talk about people don't want to say something when they see something, but if you see somebody suffering, if you know of something, there are resources now where you can help. There are not only just therapists and counselors, there are law enforcement and organizations, nonprofit organizations, community-based organizations that can help people who are suffering, especially when it comes to domestic violence and sexual violence.
All right, we want to thank you both for joining us. If you see someone going through something, imagine it's your family member, and you take action.